What's going on, my friends? For today's episode, we're taking a look at a Christopher Ward C65 Cranwell. This is from their military-inspired watches, and I think it's absolutely beautiful, and I just want to share it with you guys today. Before we get into the review, let's do a quick wristwatch check. I'm rocking my Omega S&P 300 with the Forstner Oyster bracelet, and I am honeymooning again hard with this configuration, and I gotta tell you, it's fantastic. I'm absolutely loving it. But without further ado, let's get right into the review. So starting off with price, you can find this just south of $1,300 straight from their website. Unfortunately, I don't think there is a large gray market presence for Christopher Ward, so the price that they advertise is the price that you're gonna pay. But fortunately, they do have several discounts throughout the year, so I encourage you to employ patience and wait for the right time to strike. As far as dimensions go, they really knocked it out of the park here. I will have the numbers on the screen for you, so feel free to pause at any time. But as you can see, this is really just the perfect dimensions as far as case diameter, case thickness, and lug to lug. I really think this is a watch that's going to wear well on small wristed and large wristed people. For me personally, I've got almost an 8-inch wrist, and I think it wears just fine on mine. Now going over some general information as far as the hardware goes. So the case is going to be stainless steel. We've got a sapphire crystal on the top, a screw down crown, screw down case back, and all of this is going to give us 150 meters of water resistance. The watch is powered by a COSC certified SW200, and so this is where I think you're going to find the value when you compare it to other military watches. For example, the Marathon GSAR has an SW200, but it is not COSC certified, and it's about the same price. So in this case, you're getting all of the bells and whistles of that Swiss accuracy for a comparatively discounted price, looking at, all the other watches that it directly competes with. And just like with any other SW200, that is also going to give you about 38 hours of power reserve. Let's go ahead and take a look at that Lumeshot. This one comes with Super Luminova. In this case, it's not so in your face. It is, okay. I wouldn't say it's the best lume I've ever seen, but it is perfectly respectable, and I didn't really have any complaints on it. I think it's a beautiful, nice blue color, and it does last for the majority of the night. Going back to that dial, so Christopher Ward advertises this watch as a field watch for the skies, and that's kind of a gimmicky advertising campaign, but I do see what they're talking about. So you do definitely have like that plain gotta watch style dial, but then with like hints of Flieger with the 12 o'clock indice, and then that inner ring, which seems very influenced by like the B. Uhren style Flieger watches. I think it's cool. I got no complaints about it, and for me personally, I think it's a welcome style addition to the C65 line. I really like the Arabic numerals as well. They are clear, pronounced, and easy to read, and the hour and minute hand also help with that legibility. And moving outside to that bezel area, I love a clean bezel. I'm a big fan of rotating bezels, but I'm equally as much of a fan of, non-rotating bezels, and this brushed bezel area gives it a clean look and makes it perfect for any kind of environment. So in the office, out in the field, at the gym, and I like that. As far as the crown goes, so operation is fantastic. It's threaded tightly and precisely, and it's very easy to operate when you're winding the mainspring or you're just adjusting the time. Nothing about it feels sloppy, and that is indicative of good quality, at least for me. As far as screwing it back in, there's also no issues there. It's just a very pleasant experience. And then as far as the design goes, you do have the Christopher logo printed on there, in like a 3D way, so you have a beautiful amount of depth there, and it gives it that personal touch from Christopher Ward that I also like. Now moving on to the Caseback, which I think is the star of the show here. You've got Christopher Ward paying tribute to the Royal Air Force, and as a huge fan of the military, I really like that. I just think that's a beautiful thing, but it's also executed very well. I think Christopher Ward Casebacks are a cut above the competition, and this is no exception. It is beautifully done, and just a really fun thing to have on your watch. If you live in the UK or you're in the UK military, this is definitely a very good reason to have this watch. If anything, just to remember the sacrifice of all of those that served before us. Now talking about the overall fit and finish, it is fantastic. I don't know what they do, but like it's on the level of Zaratsu or Salah's polishing, and I think it's on the same level as watches $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 higher in price. That is particularly impressive considering just how much smaller Christopher Ward is compared to the bigger name brands. And it is something I appreciate, and I've got no complaints there. Now just going over my overall thoughts, I gotta tell you guys, this is a fantastic watch. Great wrist wearing experience, and that primarily comes from the fantastic dimensions. I love the case height and the diameter, and then the more subdued style from the non-rotating bezel really gives it that type of style that can just be worn anywhere. But it is not boring because you do have that Flieger style on the dial. You get a watch that is mostly business, but it's a little fun. And then having that beautiful case back really just kind of adds that final punch in the face of quality. So at the end of the day, I think this is a great watch. I'm not going to say it's better or worse than any other brand. There's 1,000 quality watches out there, and this is in that list of quality watches. So if you like Christopher Ward and you're not necessarily looking for a big name brand and you want to support a smaller business, then this is definitely a great way to go. And that's all I got to say for now. So I hope you enjoyed this review. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys on the next episode. Bye.